Hello and welcome to the options process for 2021. As I'm sure you're aware, this one is for GCSE History. My name is Mr. McVitie. I'm the head of history at Wyvern Academy, and you can find me at mcvitie@wyvernacademy.org. So I'm just briefly going to talk to you about what it is that we do in GCSE History and the topics that we look at and what you'll be studying for the next 2 years. So the first topic that we look at is called Britain, Health and the People, and sometimes we call it medicine. But essentially it's a 1,000-year span of how medicine developed. Okay, so we'll be looking at medieval medicine, so things like the Black Death, industrial Britain, so the invention of the microscope, cholera, antiseptics, anesthetics, medicine in World War I, and then medicine in World War II, and also the creation of the NHS, which I'm sure everyone's aware has a lot more significance. So learning about how that started, bridging that gap to where we are now is still really, really important. Our second unit is called Conflict and Tension. And what we'll be looking at in this 20-year gap is how did World War I end? How people thought that a world war would never ever happen again. How did it that 20 years later, World War II began? So we're looking at the rise of the Nazi Party, the creation of the League of Nations, which is now the United Nations, and then how did World War II eventually start in the late 1930s? Unit 3 is called Elizabethan England, and that's all to do with Queen Elizabeth I. How did a young, weak girl who was never really meant to be queen, how did she end up becoming one of the greatest monarchs that this country's ever seen? How did she battle poverty, religion, the Spanish Armada? Is it actually true that she was the greatest monarch? Okay, and that's another thing that we'll be going into a lot of depth about. And then lastly, the last topic that we look at in year 11 is Germany, 1890 to 1945. So we look at Germany before World War I, so when Germany was a brand new country. Then we look at Germany during World War I and after World War I, what it was like in the 1920s, and then how did the people of Germany vote in one of the most famous and possibly evil men of all time. What was that like to be part of that country? Okay, it's really the story of how Germany goes from being a democracy to a dictatorship. So how will you be assessed in GCSE History? There are 2 papers, 50% each, and they are both 2 hours long. So in theory, that's 4 topics, 1 hour per topic. So paper 1 is Germany, that's 1 hour, then conflict and tension, and that's another hour. And then paper 2 is Britain, Health and the People, again 1 hour, and then Elizabethan England, another hour. It is a difficult subject. There is a lot of writing. I don't want to lie to anyone when I say that there's not a lot of writing, but with a lot of hard work, you will be able to do it, okay? More importantly, what can I do with this subject? What can you do with history as a history GCSE? Where does it take you? I've just said that it is a very difficult subject. There is a lot of writing, there is a lot of thinking, okay? But with that comes a lot of rewards. Analysis, we will be analysing a lot of sources, pieces of evidence, research, essay writing, communication, problem solving, and argumentation, evaluative skills, okay? A lot of employers like the skills that come with a history GCSE, and that is why it's so hard. But like I said, with these skills, you can go on to do so many things, vocational or not, okay? So as I was just saying, these are a few, not all, but these are a few of the jobs that history opens up to you. Law is a very popular one because you're dealing with lots of evidence, and you're sort of backing a piece of evidence or pieces of evidence with that. Politics is another one. A lot of leaders in world history have often done a GCSE in history, or the equivalent of a GCSE in history, or have studied history previously. Public sector work, business, marketing, again, you're looking at things like data and analysis. You're looking at trends. It's not all about just looking at the past, it's the skills that you get from a history GCSE. It's that analysing data and evidence is the key skill that employers like. Marketing, journalism is a popular one. Economics and teaching. Like I said, that's just but a few. Again, it is the skills that you get. It is really interesting to look at what happens in the past, and it is one giant story, but really it's the skill of what you're looking at. Okay. Well, hopefully that was quite informative for you. I know that there's a lot of things that I probably skipped over, but what I would like to say is if you've got any questions, please just email me and I'll happily answer anything. Okay, thank you very much.